Hey everyone, let's solve one previous question of DBMS. This question was asked in GATE CS 2024 set 1 question number 34. The symbol implication indicates functional dependency in the context of relational database. Which of the following option is or are true, and 4 options are given. During lecture, I already discussed set of rules by applying which we can find the logically implied functional dependency. These rules are reflexive rule. If A is a set of attribute and B is subset of A, then A implication B hold. Next is augmentation rule. If A implies B hold and G is set of attribute, then G of A implies G of B hold. Next is transitive rule. If A implied B hold, B implied G hold, then A implied G holds. Next is union rule. If A implied B, A implied G, then we can make union of this right side, that is A implied BG. Next is decomposition rule. It's just opposite of union rule. If A implication BG hold, then A implied B and A implied G hold. Next is zero transitive rule. If A implied B, GB implied D, then AG implied D hold. That is zero transitive rule. A implied B, so we can write GA implied GB and GB implied D hold. So GA implication D hold. That is our zero transitive. Now we'll check the options. Option A, XY implies ZW, X implies ZW. There is decomposition rule for the right side, but there is no such rule for the left side. ZW functionally dependent on XY both. So ZW cannot just dependent on X. So option A is false. There are no such rule to justify this implication. Next, option B, XY implied ZW, XY implied Z. Yes, that's according to decomposition rule. So we can split this. XY implied Z, XY implied W. Option B is true. We cannot do decomposition of left side, but we can do decomposition of right side. Next, option C, XY implied Z, W implied Y implies XW implied Z. W implied Y, XY implied Z. We can apply this pseudo transitive rule. W implication Y, XY implied Z. So here we can write X both side, XW implication XY, XY implied Z. So XW implied Z. This is according to pseudo transitive. Option C is true. Next, option D, X implied Y, Y implied Z implies X implied Z. This is directly transitive rule. X implied Y, Y implied Z means X implied Z. So option D is also true. It's according to transitive rule. We found option B is true according to decomposition rule. Option C is true according to pseudo transitive rule. And option D is true according to transitive rule. Option A is false. So answer will be option B, option C and option D. I already discussed closure of functional dependency. Just go through the lecture, and if this lecture is helpful for you, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.